Kate.
I'm Sonia.
And I'm Beverly, and today we're dishing with you at Mayfair and Pine in the heart of Glover Park at 2218 Wisconsin Avenue Northwest. It's an American gastropub, and you're gonna love it.
And the food looks amazing that we have in front of us today. We have scallops with cilantro and an Israeli couscous and a stone fruit salsa. In the middle, we have candied apple salad. And on the far end, we have chipeño, which is a San Francisco treat, which is basically just a fisherman's stew, but I am gonna eat this all up, just myself.
It all looks scrumptious. We're excited to be here for so many reasons. One, the new Mayfair and Pine is owned and operated by Chef Emily Sprisler and her husband. Emily is very recognizable because she was on Top Chef Season 2 and has just opened this place. It's brand new. And we also are excited to announce that we are now on the brand new District of Columbia network. So you can continue to watch us online, or you can check us out on Channel 16. And today we're excited to have with us Daniel Hornal, who is talking to us about something that is kind of a controversial subject here in DC. And no, we're not talking about politics, we're talking about taxi cabs. They are, you know, people really are polarized by this. Do they like taxi cabs? Do they not? Do people drive? Do they walk? Whatever. But you came up with a great kind of, you helped the website DC Cabs Suck to come into being. Do you think DC cabs suck?
I think there's some wonderful cab drivers in DC. I think on the whole, we don't have the same service as most other cities have, and as is required by law, frankly. So there's DC is a long set of regulations for cabs that they can't ask you where you're going before you get in. They can't refuse to take you.
But they totally do.
Yeah.
So if that happens, where do you go? What are you supposed to do?
Well, there's a few things you can do. One thing you can do is you can call the Taxicab Commission. They have an email thing. You can fill out a complaint.
Yeah, but nobody does that.
And people get right on it.
I was just gonna say, does anybody answer those emails?
Sometimes, where we've worked with the commission a little bit, they do some things. But the process doesn't always follow through. So what I do is I'm a consumer lawyer, and the DC has some of the best consumer protection laws in the country, and so you can actually use those laws to personally go after the driver and the company if you'd like. And the way the law is set up is if they say refuse to take you somewhere, which happens all the time. You know, you want to go to Fort Totten or you want to go to Tacoma Park and it's 3 a.m. Good luck. Yeah. And so basically, you get the cab name, the cab license plate, and if you can, record it on your cell phone. And then you call me, and basically DC law provides for $1,500 damages plus attorney's fees.
Really?
If they violate, well, if anybody violates any consumer laws, but that includes taxicab laws.
Okay, so my big problem is that they will, when I get into a cab, I never have cash. So I always say, do you take credit cards? And they're like, no, most of the time. So then they drive off. Do I have a leg to stand on?
You do. So they don't take credit cards, although they're supposed to, starting I think December is when the new regulations are going to come in. So there will be card machines in all cabs soon. But if you don't have cash, what they actually are required to do is take you to an ATM if you ask. And I believe they can charge you 50 cents for that service.
Wow. Well, that's handy.
Yeah, so they actually are supposed to do that.
Huh.
Here's my question and concern about DC cabs or whatever, transportation. It seems like there are 50 million different cab companies in DC, whereas in another major city here on the East Coast that shall remain nameless, New York City, they're all
nameless anymore.
They're all yellow cabs, and there's one central kind of location from which they are dispatched, and everybty works for them.
You are super angry about this. I love it.
See, people really care about this.
It irks me.
Yeah.
It irks me.
Yeah.
Why do I have to deal with 50 million different people who may or may not stop for me, depending on how dark it is outside?
Right. Well, I mean,
how threatening I look.
It's not necessarily that having more or fewer companies makes it better, right? One of our cases against Yellow Cab in DC, which is one of the biggest cab companies here, right? So. That's just, I mean, the law is set up so that you can have an independent taxi cab. If you want to, you can just start your own, taxi cab company.
Really? Like I can just start driving around picking up people?
I've seen your car.
Okay, not me.
Okay. A few license requirements, But But you can do it. But the problem is, once again, it's just that the laws aren't enforced against who we have. I don't think it would necessarily solve problems to just have one or two companies if the problems are that the drivers aren't picking people up, right? They do it for their own economic reasons, and frankly, I understand. Like, it's difficult for a cab if they're not going to get a return fare if they go out to Anacostia at 3 a.m. Right. However, it's the law they have to take you, and the reason that law exists is to stop them from discriminating against people.
So really, you should just get into the cab and then be like, I'm going here.
But I have heard stories that people have got, like, they know that they won't take them to Capitol Hill, so they get in, and then they tell them, okay, I'm going to Capitol Hill, and they literally pull them out of the cab and say, no, I'm not going there.
Wow.
I've heard of that happening.
And you can call the police if that happens. Or you, like I said, if you want to go after it later, just once again, pull out your cell phone, record it, and then you give me a call, because that's what I do. Are
there a lot of attorneys, lawyers like you that do this?
I don't know of any.
Okay, well, we found the right guy.
What got you started?
I got
really great experience.
Actually, for me, it's not too bad. I live in Chinatown. It's always easy to get a cab to Chinatown because you can always get a return fare from Chinatown, right? But I was with a friend of mine. She had had a few drinks, but she was cogent. She wasn't bad. She had a few drinks, and she was going out to a fairly seedy neighborhood out in far out in Capitol Hill, and Capitol Hill's a lovely place. But, alone 3 in the morning, not necessarily the best place. So she was trying to get a cab, and we had to go through 3 people before somebody would pick her up. And, I know the DC laws, and so I thought that seems odd. And so I did a little bit of research and found out that this remedy exists. And, I posted to this website called Reddit. I don't know if you've heard of it. I made a post on the DC subreddit, and I got over 150 comments of people, just all of these stories of these horrible cab experiences. Refused the haul. There's some assaults. There's some really bad ones. And so I thought, well, somebody needs to clean it up. And the Taxicab Commission, for whatever reason, maybe they're understaffed, maybe the good people got fired. Who knows? Isn't taking care of it. So I thought, well, I can do it.
So we would be remiss if we didn't ask you about some taxicab competitors coming into town. I'm not going to name them because I think everybody knows who's coming, but there's additionally a number of apps that you can use to call a taxi or a driver to come and get you. Do we think that that's helping the taxicabs to be better because there's increased competition, or are they kind of saying, oh well, there's all these other options, why do we need to really change what we're doing?
Right. Well, I think competition is generally a good thing. I mean, this is my personal belief, right? Which just me. I think it's generally a good thing. I understand the concerns the drivers have with them not being required to follow the same rules. I mean, for taxicabs, there's this long list of things they have to do. They have to have emergency flashers and things in their back, in their trunk. There's all these things that they're required to do, and so I think that it's important for DC to basically find a way to regulate this new industry too. The alternative services are more expensive. Which it's interesting because it's providing like classes of service. Like, oh, I want good service, I go there. I want maybe bad service, I go here. And maybe that's good and maybe it's not. It depends on your views on equality and all that sort of thing.
Okay. Well, I have one question that I've always wanted to know, and it seems like the expert is here. How come in DC they don't have to turn the light on whenever they're available?
Yeah.
I never know when one is available. The light is never on.
I just stand and put my arm out until
and the joke
stops.
is, and I always tweet with the hashtag cabs hate me because they can be empty and they never stop for me, and I think, oh, they're available, and they're not available. The light's on willy-nilly. What does the light mean in DC, and does it have to mean anything? Is there a rule?
There is a rule on the light. Technically, they're violating the law if they drive by you and there's nobody in the cab and they don't have an on-duty. If they don't have an off-duty sign in their window and they drive by you, they're actually violating the law.
Really?
Yes. That being said, there's been a new regulation passed going into effect pretty soon that's going to tie the light to the meter. So
they'll have that light on if they're available.
The light should be on, yes.
That's all I wanted to know.
And so we can get all these kind of facts from your from what you post on the website?
Well, so the DC cabs suck. I didn't write it myself. What happened was somebody saw the Reddit post I made, and like a month later, they said, hey, I made this website. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And I called them up, and then I helped them out by making the legal section. This is what your rights are. This is everything. You can go to that website. It's dccabsuck.com, I believe. And it has, if you click on a link, there's a list of all of their, well, not all of the rules, of many of the rules.
The most ones that come up all the time.
Yeah, most of the ones that come up.
Check your rights.
Know your rights.
Know your rights.
I guess that's the best advice.
Absolutely.
And other than just knowing your name and phone number, how can people get in touch with you if they have one of these issues and they want to take it to court?
If somebody wants to talk to me, my email is daniel@taloslaw.com. That's TALOSLAW.com.
Well, this has been fascinating.
Absolutely.
I can't wait to see all those lights on passing these. Daniel, thanks so much. And as always, thank you for joining us. Make sure that you follow us on Facebook and on Twitter because we have exciting news. You can not only watch us online, but you can also watch us on the new District of Columbia network. So come on back here next time. Don't miss any episodes of the District Dish.